Today's video is on the Barzai. Now, the Barzai is not this character's name, it's a title. Essentially, he's the leader of the Brood of Nakash, and this title, the Barzai, is a term that I actually borrowed from H.P. Lovecraft. It's a term that he uses for a priest in one of the Lovecraftian cults that comes up in his stories. And in fact, this story utilizes that imagery as well. In fact, at least one of the entities that the Brood of Nakash is involved with is directly a reference to H.P. Lovecraft's characters. Now, he doesn't start out the story as the leader of the cult. In fact, he starts out as a young man who is going to get sacrificed for the purposes of becoming a powerful figure within the cult. And even at that point, it's not really presented as though he's intended to be the leader, but he kind of becomes it by default because Benedict kills literally everyone else that's there at the time. So he has a pretty direct relationship with Benedict. He met Benedict before he became the Barzai in the instance that he was possessed by the spirit of Nakash himself and became the Barzai. And Benedict and him have some history, therefore, that goes back and forth, and they recognize each other as notable threats in their lives. As such, he comes up fairly frequently, not constantly, like not every time the Brood of Nakash is around does the Barzai show up, but when he shows up it's because they're doing something fairly important or because they're directly involving Benedict in what they're doing. A lot of his story goes untold. We don't know exactly how he got recognized by the global cult as their leader. We don't know exactly what his methods are that he's doing. We only occasionally see him active, but he is a significant threat, and he is the primary catalyst for the climax of Volume 2. As I said, how he became the Barzai involved a ritual where he was possessed by the spirit of Nakash, or at least that was the goal of the ritual. Whether or not that's actually what happened is debatable, obviously. But he carries powers that seem to link him to being a warlock. A warlock within Tall Tales is kind of the opposite of an anchor. I talked about this during Madison's video, that Madison, as an anchor, is a source of anti-magic. He prevents magic from happening. He stops things from crossing over. A warlock is the opposite. They are a source of magic, and they cause things to cross over. And that is sort of the level of power that the Barzai seems to have when he's shown actually being active. And this puts him in direct conflict with Madison, in fact, because they are essentially, on a spiritual level, direct opposites by nature. There are opposing forces in the governing of the universe. Now, when Madison meets them, the Barzai refers to him as the Omen. He seems to know who Madison is and have an idea on what role Madison is going to have in the ultimate goals of the Brood of Nakash, but what that means hasn't really been explored yet. So this puts him into direct conflict with a few different blog authors, and so he comes up, especially in Volume 2, fairly frequently, as the Brood is the main catalyst of Volume 2. And because of the way that Volume 2 ends with him, I can't really talk about what's going to happen with that title without giving away quite a lot of spoilers. But that's the function that the Barzai served in Volumes 1 and 2, is the leader of the Brood of Nakash, who rose to prominence after an attack by Benedict, in which he witnessed basically all of the leadership of the cult be murdered except himself, and has kind of held a grudge about that ever since. You can learn more about him and the Brood here at talltalesuf.com. I encourage you to check that out. Thank you.